All right, so get this. Overwatch 2's got a brand new hero coming out in Season 14, and he is not like anything we've seen before.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking about Hazard.
Yeah.
A tank who's like part punk rocker, part walking arsenal.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, what's really got me interested is how Blizzard's describing his playstyle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're calling him a brawl dive disruptor, a tank that can like seamlessly blend those two styles.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty rare. He's designed to be a constant threat, you know, always keeping the enemy team on edge.
So not your typical frontline tank then, more like a chaotic force of nature.
Exactly.
Oh, cool.
And you can actually get a taste of that chaos right now. There's a limited time trial running until November 25th.
Oh, perfect.
It gives players a chance to try him out before his official release on December 10th.
Perfect timing for our deep dive then. Let's break down Hazard's abilities, see what makes him tick.
That's good.
First up, his primary fire is called Bone Spur.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, Bone Spur is a close to mid-range shotgun. Think of it as a way to apply pressure, you know, poke at enemies.
Yeah.
Soften them up for a more aggressive play.
And if you want to get aggressive, his ability, 1, Violent Leap. It's a 2-stage lunge attack, right?
That's right.
Right.
First, he leaps toward a target area, and then if you time it correctly, he unleashes a devastating slash attack like midair.
Oh, nice.
This is where that dive element of his playstyle comes into play.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So he can quickly close the gap on those squishy backline heroes.
Precisely.
Gotcha.
And it also opens up some interesting combo potential with his other abilities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for instance, imagine diving in with Violent Leap, slashing through a group, and then activating Spike Guard.
Spike Guard, that's the ability that blocks damage. Sounds like a lifesaver when you're in the thick of it.
It is. Spike Guard not only blocks incoming frontal damage, but it also retaliates by firing homing spikes at nearby enemies. And here's a kicker. It regenerates his ammo while active.
Whoa, multitasking at its finest. So you could poke with Bone Spur, dive in with Violent Leap, then use Spike Guard to stay alive while you finish them off.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
The interplay between those three abilities is key to mastering Hazard's aggressive playstyle.
Right.
But he's not just about offense.
Oh.
He also has Jagged Wall to control the battlefield.
This is the ability where he creates a wall of vanadium spikes, right? What makes it so special?
Well, for one, he can create this wall on any surface, walls, ceilings, you name it.
Really?
Damages and knocks back enemies who touch it.
Okay.
And Hazard can actually climb it thanks to his passive ability Vault. Vault allows him to climb any vertical surface for a short distance.
Wow.
Think of the possibilities.
Crazy.
Flanking routes, reaching high ground, surprising enemies from unexpected angles. It adds a whole new dimension to tank gameplay.
This is getting wild. And we haven't even touched on his ultimate ability, Downpour.
Yeah.
So,
Downpour is where things get truly chaotic.
okay.
Hazard rains down piercing spikes that damage and root opponents in place.
Oh.
Downpour ignores cover.
Oh, no.
Those spikes go through walls, ceilings.
So if you see Hazard winding up for Downpour, you better start running.
It's a game changer, especially in enclosed spaces or choke points.
Right.
And it highlights how Hazard breaks the mold of a traditional tank. He's not just about holding the front line, he's about disrupting the enemy team.
Right.
Creating chaos, forcing them to react to his moves.
But it sounds like his journey to becoming a hero wasn't exactly straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, he was initially conceived as a villain.
That's right. Early concepts depicted him as this monstrous, imposing figure.
Really?
But then something interesting happened during playtesting.
Leave us hanging. What happened?
Players loved his unique kit and aggressive playstyle.
Oh, wow.
They responded so positively to his early prototype that it solidified his place as the Season 14 hero.
So the community basically said, give us this spiky, chaotic tank and make him a hero.
Pretty much.
But how did that transformation happen? How did he go from, like, potential villain to the champion we see today?
That's where the freaks come into play.
Okay.
This group of body modders became Hazard's, like, found family.
Oh, cool.
They gave him a place to express himself, embrace his rebellious spirit, and develop this sense of loyalty and protectiveness that defines him as a hero.
So his backstory is more than just punk rocker with a cool gun.
It's about finding belonging.
Yeah.
It's about a group of outsiders who challenge the norms and carve their own path. And that theme is further reinforced by his visual design. Yeah, the crystallized jagged armor represents his tough exterior.
Oh.
But underneath that, he's a protector.
Yeah.
Fiercely loyal to the freaks and their cause.
It's that contrast that makes him so interesting, right?
Yeah.
The tough exterior, the heart of gold, fighting for those he cares about.
Yeah.
And you can't forget that killer punk rock aesthetic.
Absolutely. His visual design perfectly captures that rebellious spirit. The spikes, the vibrant colors, it's all a visual statement.
Yeah.
A challenge to conformity.
It sounds like Hazard's arrival is going to shake things up in Overwatch 2. But how exactly will he impact the game?
Yeah.
Both in terms of the meta and the lore.
There's a lot to unpack. So let's take a deeper look.
Right.
Okay, so let's get into like the nitty gritty
Okay.
of how to actually play Hazard.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready to unleash some chaos. What are some key things players should keep in mind when jumping into a match as Hazard?
Well, first and foremost, positioning and map awareness are crucial.
Okay.
You know, unlike some tanks who just kind of hold the front line,
Right.
Hazard thrives on flanking, using his jagged wall and vault passive to reach like unexpected locations.
So thinking like a flanker,
Yeah,
looking for creative angles and ways to like surprise the enemy team.
exactly.
Okay.
Imagine using jagged wall to block off a choke point,
Yeah.
forcing the enemy team into like a kill zone,
Oh, okay.
or using vault to reach a high ground position that other tanks can't access.
Right.
And raining down chaos with Bone Spur.
Speaking of chaos, let's talk about Downpour.
Yeah.
It sounds like a powerful ultimate, but I imagine there's a lot of nuance to using it effectively.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One thing to remember is that Downpour pierces terrain.
Okay.
So don't hesitate to use it,
Right.
even if enemies are hiding behind cover. In fact, you can use it strategically
Yeah.
to flush them out of buildings or force them off high ground.
So it's not just about raw damage, it's about using it to manipulate the enemy team's positioning.
Precisely.
Gotcha.
Think of it as a tool for area denial, for like controlling the flow of the fight.
Right.
And of course, try to use it in areas where enemies are clustered together.
Yeah.
You know, choke points and closed spaces to maximize its impact.
It sounds like teamwork is essential for making the most of Downpour.
Absolutely.
Coordinating with allies to like follow up on those rooted enemies could lead to some pretty devastating plays.
Communication is key with Hazard.
Okay.
Let your team know when you're planning a dive with Violent Leap so they can capitalize on the disruption. And don't forget about Spike Guard. That ability can be a lifesaver when you're diving deep into the enemy lines,
Yeah.
buying you precious time to secure a kill or escape.
It's interesting how Spike Guard not only protects you, but also regenerates ammo, letting you keep up that aggressive pressure.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you have any specific combos you'd recommend players practice with Hazard?
One combo that's particularly effective involves using Violent Leap to close the gap,
Okay.
followed by a quick Bone Spur burst, then activate Spike Guard to block any retaliation while you finish off the target with another Bone Spur blast or a melee attack.
Oh.
It's a great way to burst down squishy heroes like supports or damage dealers.
Now let's talk about how to maximize Hazard's impact on the battlefield.
Okay.
What kind of team compositions and hero synergies work best with his disruptive playstyle?
Well, one of Hazard's strengths is his ability to create chaos and disrupt enemy formation. Heroes with high mobility and burst damage,
Well-
like Genji or Tracer,
Yeah.
would be excellent partners.
So while Hazard's creating space
Yeah.
and drawing attention,
Right.
those mobile damage dealers can swoop in and clean up.
Exactly.
Right.
Imagine Hazard using Violent Leap to dive into the enemy backline,
Okay.
followed by a Genji using his Swift Strike to finish off a vulnerable support.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare scenario for the opposing team.
That's a scary combo.
Yeah.
And what about supports? Who's best equipped to keep Hazard alive during those aggressive dives?
Supports like Kiriko and Lucio would be ideal choices.
Okay.
Kiriko's Protection Suzu can cleanse debuffs
Okay.
and provide temporary invulnerability, allowing Hazard to survive burst damage.
Right.
And Lucio's Speed Boost can help Hazard quickly close the gap on enemies
Okay.
or escape from dangerous situations.
So it's all about enabling Hazard's aggressive playstyle while also providing him with the support he needs to survive those daring maneuvers.
Exactly.
Gotcha. But what about countering Hazard?
The key to countering Hazard is to disrupt his mobility
Okay.
and punish his aggressive dives. Heroes with crowd control abilities, like Mai's Freeze or Sombra's Hack, can prevent him from using Violent Leap or Jagged Wall effectively.
So control is key.
Yeah.
Stopping him from getting into those prime flanking positions. And disrupting your team's formation.
Exactly. And when he pops Downpour,
Yeah.
the best strategy is to spread out and stay mobile.
It sounds like countering him effectively requires a combination of smart hero choices, good communication, and a bit of quick thinking.
That's precisely right.
Okay.
It's all about anticipating his moves, denying him those key opportunities to disrupt your team, and capitalizing on any mistakes he might make. Remember, as aggressive as Hazard is,
Right.
he's still vulnerable if he overextends or gets caught out of position.
But what's the overall verdict on Hazard? How do you think he'll impact the landscape of Overwatch 2 in the long run?
Hazard's arrival is a game changer,
Okay.
both in terms of gameplay and lore.
Right.
He's a tank that breaks the mold,
Yeah.
bringing a unique blend of aggression, mobility, and strategic depth to the battlefield.
And it feels like his impact is going to be felt far beyond just his abilities and stats. He's a catalyst for new ideas, new strategies, and new explorations of the game's rich narrative.
It's an exciting time to be an Overwatch 2 player, and I, for one, can't wait to see how the community embraces this punk rock rebel and the chaos he brings to the game.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on something specific.
Right.
Knowing how closely Blizzard listens to the community,
Yeah.
do you think Hazard's arrival could signal a deeper exploration of the freaks in the future?
That's a great question, and one that has the potential to open up some fascinating narrative possibilities. The freaks, with their focus on bodily autonomy and their rebellious ideals,
Right.
offer a unique perspective within the Overwatch universe.
They also like a wild card.
Yeah.
A faction that could shake things up in unpredictable ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And their connection to Hazard could be just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Blizzard dives deeper into their story in future updates,
Yeah.
perhaps exploring their origins, their motivations, and their relationships with other factions in the Overwatch world. It's exciting to think about the possibility.
It certainly is.
And it highlights how Hazard's introduction isn't just about adding a new character to the roster.
Right.
It's about expanding the world of Overwatch, introducing new factions, new ideologies, and new conflicts that could have far-reaching consequences.
But what does it all mean?
Right.
How does Hazard fit into the larger narrative of Overwatch 2?
Yeah, that's the question that has me most intrigued.
Yeah.
On the surface, he's this punk rock tank all about chaos and disruption, but there's a depth to him,
Right.
complexity
Yeah.
that hints at something bigger.
Yeah, it's like he's a symbol of something. A challenge to the status quo.
Yeah.
But what exactly is that challenge?
Well, think about the freaks and their core belief in bodily autonomy.
Okay.
It's a radical idea in the Overwatch universe.
Yeah.
Where technology has advanced to the point where people can augment themselves in extraordinary ways.
Right. And yet there's always that question of control. Of who gets to decide what's acceptable and what's not.
Right.
The freaks seem to reject that control.
Yeah.
To say our bodies are our own.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message, especially in a world where technology is becoming increasingly integrated with our lives.
Right.
Hazard, as a product of that philosophy, represents a challenge to the established order. He's a walking embodiment of self-expression,
Right.
a rebellion against the idea that we should conform to someone else's definition of normal.
It's interesting how his visual design reinforces that idea.
I think so too.
The spikes, the chains, the vibrant colors, it's all a statement of individuality.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying, I'm not afraid to be different. And that's a message that resonates far beyond the world of Overwatch.
It does.
We see those same struggles in our own world. Debates about technology, personal freedom,
Right.
the right to express oneself without judgment.
Hazard, in a way, becomes a reflection of those debates.
Yeah.
A symbol of the tension between conformity and individuality.
Okay.
He embodies that push and pull
Right.
between the desire to belong and the need to be true to oneself.
It makes you wonder how his presence will impact the other heroes.
Yeah.
The other factions in the Overwatch universe.
Right.
Will he inspire others to question the status quo?
It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
His arrival could be a catalyst for change.
Yeah.
A spark that ignites a broader movement toward greater personal freedom and self-expression.
Right.
Or he could face resistance. It's almost like he's a crack in the foundation. A disruptor who shakes things up and forces everyone to reevaluate their beliefs.
I like that.
And with his connection to the freaks,
Yeah.
who knows what kind of ripple effects his actions might have.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Hazard's introduction so exciting.
Right.
He's not just a new hero.
Yeah.
He's a portal to a whole new set of questions, new conflicts, new possibilities for the Overwatch universe.
It's like Blizzard has thrown open the doors to a whole new chapter in the story. And we're all eager to see where it leads. It makes you appreciate the power of video games as a storytelling medium.
Yeah.
They can be so much more than just entertainment.
Right.
They can spark conversations, challenge our assumptions.
Absolutely.
Make us think about the world in new ways.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, I think it's time we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Hazard.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground, but it feels like we've only scratched the surface.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
There's always more to explore,
Right.
more to discover, and with Hazard's arrival,
Yeah.
the future of Overwatch 2 is looking more exciting than ever.
So, to our listeners, jump into the game, experiment with Hazard's kit, and see what chaos you can create.
Have fun with it.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll be back soon with another insightful exploration of a fascinating topic. Stay curious, keep learning, and never stop diving deep.